Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive Dance channel. This is part 2 of our series on 20 influential choreographers of the 20th century. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I recommend watching it first. It will give you a clearer sense of how dance and choreography evolved throughout the 20th century. Please keep in mind that this video is a brief introduction to major artists who shaped the development of dance, and it reflects my personal perspective as a dancer and teacher. It is not meant to be a definitive or exhaustive list. If you're enjoying our content and would like to support the channel, consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm and allows this work to reach more people. Let's dive in. First, we begin with Paul Taylor, an American modern dancer and choreographer known for his inventive and often humorous approach to movement. He began his dance training at Juilliard, studying with figures such as Martha Graham, José Limón, and Anthony Tudor. In 1953, Taylor joined Martha Graham's company, another key figure we discussed in part 1 of this series. During his time with the company, Taylor created numerous roles in Graham's works and quickly became one of her leading dancers. As a choreographer, Taylor worked with a wide range of movement qualities. Some of his choreography, which he described as flat, placed a strong emphasis on action rather than on traditional ideas of shape or line. His avant-garde explorations range from highly dynamic works to radical minimalism, most famously Duet, in which he and his partner remained completely motionless on stage for 4 minutes. The Paul Taylor Dance Company, founded in 1954 and typically consisting of around 13 dancers, grew into one of the most respected and influential modern dance companies in the United States. Alvin Ailey was an American choreographer and activist who founded the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in New York in 1958. The company quickly became known as a vibrant, multiracial modern dance ensemble and played a major role in introducing modern dance to international audiences through extensive worldwide touring. In his choreography, Ailey blended elements of modern dance, jazz, and what he described as more primitive movement forms, often drawing on themes connected to Black life in rural America. His most celebrated work, Revelations, is a powerful exploration of spiritual and communal experience. The ballet was inspired by what Ailey called the blood memories of his childhood in rural Texas and his experiences in the Baptist church. Over the course of his career, Ailey created nearly 80 ballets and also founded the Ailey School, which has become one of the leading centers for professional dance training in the United States. Trisha Brown was an American choreographer whose avant-garde and postmodern work explored movement in its most essential form, often questioning the relationship between dance, music, and theatrical space. Her choreography frequently experimented with pure movement, sometimes performed without musical accompaniment and outside of traditional stage settings. Brown believed that dances could be themeless and plotless, and that movement could reflect a dancer's internal rhythms rather than narrative or emotion. Her artistic direction began to take shape after she met choreographer Yvonne Rainer in 1960. Together, they became founding members of the experimental Judson Dance Theater in 1962, a collective that played a central role in redefining dance in the postmodern era. From 1970 to 1976, Brown was also a founding member of the improvisational group Grand Union, and in 1970 she established the Trisha Brown Dance Company, which was an all-female company until 1979. In works such as Accumulating Pieces, Brown built choreography from a series of simple gestures, each movement adding onto the previous one. In Roof Piece, performed in New York City, dancers were placed on separate rooftops across Manhattan, passing movement phrases from one to another while the audience observed from a distance. John Neumeier is an American-born choreographer who has spent most of his artistic life in Europe. He is also the first choreographer on this list who is not only still alive, but continues to be actively creating work today. In 1963, John Cranko invited Neumeier to join the Stuttgart Ballet, where he developed as a soloist while continuing the choreographic work he had already begun. In 1969, Neumeier was appointed director of Ballet Frankfurt, where he attracted attention for his reinterpretations of classical ballets, such as the Nutcracker and Romeo and Juliet. In 1973, he became director and chief choreographer of the Hamburg Ballet. Under his leadership, the company grew into one of the leading ballet institutions in Germany and gained international recognition. As a choreographer, Neumeier has consistently focused on preserving classical ballet tradition while placing it within a modern, psychologically driven dramatic framework. In 1978, he founded the Hamburg Ballet School, which later moved together with the company into its own dedicated center, the Ballet Centrum. Today, a significant portion of the company's dancers are graduates of the school. Pina Bausch was a German choreographer born in Solingen, whose name became inseparably linked with the city of Wuppertal, where she created her work with Tanztheater Wuppertal from 1973 until her death. She received her early training at the Folkwang School in Essen under Kurt Jooss, and later spent a year as a special student at the Juilliard School in New York, a city that at the time was a major center for innovation in dance. Her 1975 choreography of Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring marked a decisive moment in her career. The work's raw physicality and emotional intensity became defining characteristics of her artistic language. From early on, Bausch developed a distinctive working process, asking her dancers personal questions and transforming their responses, spoken, physical, or emotional, into movement and theatrical scenes. The dance theater she developed differed fundamentally from traditional ballet. Dancers appeared on stage as individuals, revealing personal stories through movement, speech, song, laughter, and tears. Through this approach, Bausch reshaped the relationship between dance and theater and strongly influenced generations of choreographers across disciplines. Her sense of authenticity extended to the visual world of her productions, created in close collaboration with designers Peter Pabst and Rolf Borzik, whose sets often incorporated elemental materials such as earth, grass, and water. International co-productions also became an essential part of her work. Residencies in countries such as Italy, Japan, Brazil, Hong Kong, and Turkey left visible cultural and aesthetic traces in the company's repertoire. Twyla Tharp, born in Portland in 1941, is an American choreographer known for her ability to move fluidly between experimental dance, popular culture, and classical ballet. After completing her dance studies, she joined the Paul Taylor Dance Company, but by 1965 she had already formed her own troupe. During this early period, she created works that often used street clothes, bare stages, and, at times, no music at all. Through these technically precise, yet unconventional explorations of movement, Tharp gradually built a dedicated following. In 1971, she began working with jazz music and creating dances that appealed to broader audiences, while maintaining technical rigor and an understated sense of humor that became a hallmark of her style. In 1988, Tharp disbanded her company and joined American Ballet Theatre, where she served as artistic associate alongside Mikhail Baryshnikov until 1990. In addition to her stage work, she choreographed for film, including the musical Hair. To mark her 80th birthday in 2021, Tharp presented Twyla Now at New York City Center, featuring reworked duets from her archive alongside new creations. Mats Ek is a Swedish choreographer and the son of choreographer Birgit Cullberg, whom we discussed in part 1 of this series. Since the 1970s, Ek has developed a highly distinctive choreographic language, deeply rooted in classical ballet technique, yet marked by a clear, often understated physical expressiveness. His work is frequently described as both emotionally precise and quietly humorous, and he is widely regarded as a master storyteller through movement. Many of Ek's best-known works are reinterpretations of classical story ballets, including Giselle, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, and Romeo and Juliet. In each case, he re-examined familiar narratives through a contemporary lens, adapting them to modern psychological and social contexts. In 1978, Ek became artistic director of the Cullberg Ballet together with Birgit Cullberg, and later assumed full responsibility for the company until 1993. During this period, the company achieved notable international visibility. Ek remains active today and continues to create new works for major dance companies around the world. Jiří Kylián was born in 1947 in what is now the Czech Republic. He began his professional dance career with the Stuttgart Ballet, directed by John Cranko, where he also made his first choreographic works. In 1975, Kylián became artistic director of Netherlands Dawn Theatre in The Hague. In 1978, he brought the company international recognition with Sinfonietta. Shortly afterward, NDT2 was established, creating a space dedicated to the development of young dancers and emerging choreographers. After stepping down as artistic director in 1999, Kylián continued to work as the company's house choreographer until 2009. His international reputation grew through works often referred to as the black and white ballets, created for a generation of dancers who became closely associated with the company's identity. Kylián's choreography is frequently noted for its musical sensitivity, refined partnering, and continual evolution. In recent years, his creative focus has expanded beyond the traditional stage toward film and other visual formats. Over the course of his career, he has created more than 100 works, many of which continue to be performed worldwide. William Forsythe is an American-born choreographer who relocated early in his career to Europe, where he joined the Stuttgart Ballet and was appointed resident choreographer in 1976. In 1984, he began a two-decade tenure as director of the Ballet Frankfurt, during which he created a series of works that challenged and re-examined the internal structures of classical ballet. Following the closure of Ballet Frankfurt in 2004, Forsythe founded the Forsythe Company, which he directed from 2005 until 2015. Alongside his stage work, Forsythe developed new approaches to dance research, documentation, and education. His digital project Improvisation Technologies has been widely used as a pedagogical tool in professional dance training and academic contexts.
From the back, from the top, from the front, with any different side of any limb you so desire.
In recent years, his work has increasingly taken place in galleries and museums, where he creates installations and site-specific performances. Ohad Naharin is an Israeli choreographer whose work is closely associated with Batsheva Dance Company. He joined the company as a dancer in 1974, despite having limited formal dance training. During this period, Martha Graham invited him to join her company in New York, and he later spent a season with Maurice Bejart's ballet of the 20th century in Brussels. Naharin made his choreographic debut in New York in 1979. In 1990, he was appointed artistic director of Batsheva Dance Company and founded its junior ensemble, Batsheva, the Young Ensemble. After nearly 3 decades in the role, he stepped down in 2018 and continues as the company's house choreographer. In addition to his stage work, Naharin developed Gaga, a movement language based on sensory awareness, imagination, and physical exploration. Gaga has become the daily training practice of Batsheva's dancers and is now taught internationally to both dancers and non-dancers. And with that, we come to the end of part 2 of our journey through 20th century choreography. These artists represent very different paths, aesthetics, and generations, yet each of them contributed to reshaping how we move, create, and think about dance today. Of course, this is not a definitive list. It's one perspective shaped by my own experience as a dancer and teacher. So I'd love to hear from you. Which choreographer on this list influenced you the most? Or is there someone you feel should be part of this conversation? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, make sure to check it out. Together, these 2 videos offer a broader picture of how dance evolved across the 20th century. And if you'd like to support Deep Dive Dance, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to keep creating in-depth dance content for this community. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next Deep Dive.